Good morning, and to the people who watched my last video, welcome back to my channel. To anybody who's new, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily, I'm a makeup artist, and at the moment half of my face isn't working. I explained that in a lot of detail in my last video, so if you're interested, curious, nosy, go ahead and watch that. And if you did watch my last video, I feel like I've a little bit more movement going on in my face, and I went back to work last week, which is amazing because I love my job, I love my work, and I'm delighted to be back and just in a little bit more of a routine. So today I am going to be talking you through my kind of top tips and tricks to make your makeup last all day. I do my makeup at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I leave the house, go to work, I'm on buses, I'm walking through town, it's raining, all sorts. And I don't touch my makeup during the day. The only thing I ever top up is my lipstick after lunch or after I've had a coffee. And when I come home, often 11-12 hours later, my makeup is exactly the same as it was when I left the house. And it's taken me a long time of tricking around with different products, trying things out on myself, trying them out on clients. It's taken me a long time to figure out what actually makes the difference in these. And you'd be surprised, it's not that difficult. And you can all do it. So, without further ado, I'm gonna get straight into things. Hello. So the first thing you want to think about is your skincare. If your skin is nice and hydrated, then it's not going to feel the need to drink up your foundation. You know that can happen sometimes during the day. Your foundation just kind of sinks into your skin. That's not going to happen if you work on the skin beforehand. So get yourself a good skincare routine that works for you. It doesn't have to be the most expensive of stuff. There are options for everything. So head into Boots, have a look at things. What I would suggest is keep an eye on the ingredients on the back of your product, and you want to go for something that has the least amount of ingredients possible, because the less ingredients, then the more natural it is, the better for your skin it's going to be, and then your skin is not going to drink up your makeup, because the better prepared the canvas is, then the better your makeup is going to look, the better your makeup is going to last. So that's number one. Tip number two, always use a primer. It's going to give the makeup something to adhere to, something to stick to. If you were a decorator painting a wall, you're going to put down a primer before you put down your paint, because it's going to make it stick better, it's going to make it last longer, look better, all of that. And the thing I would say about primers is stay away from silicone.
Stay away from silicone.
Check out your ingredients again. If there's silicone in your primer, it's going to make your skin look great at first and feel really smooth and create that kind of film over your pores and give you that airbrush look. But silicone, because it's like a chemical ingredient, starts to break down very quickly. So that's, once you put your makeup on top, it's going to start to break down, especially if your foundation is water based instead of silicone based, because then the two bases aren't going to mix well, they're not going to sit on top of each other well. So go for a primer that is not silicone based, and there's so many options there. So always use a primer. I'm using my Hollywood Flawless filter today in shade 2, so I'm just going to go ahead and whack that on. I use a brush for my primer, but you can just use your fingers, it doesn't really make a difference with the primer. Now let's talk about foundation. With your foundation, you can do this a few different ways depending on what foundation you use, what kind of coverage you want. You need to think about what tools you're using for your foundation. So if you use your fingers with your foundation, you're going to get a really light coverage. Your fingers are going to soak in a lot of the product, and because your hands have a natural oils on them, that's going to go onto your skin, and that will start to break down your makeup faster. So if you want to use your fingers, that's fine, but you're not going to get a long lasting effect from that, and you're going to get a really light coverage. So I would always suggest using a brush. Now there's a few different options here. I like to use a brush like this that's got a kind of fluffy head, it's quite densely packed, so this is going to give me a kind of medium coverage, which is what I like to go for. If you want a fuller coverage, I'm going to go for a brush that's really densely packed, so something like this guy here. You can see it has really densely packed bristles. and by kind of patting your foundation into the skin with something like this, you're going to get a really nice full coverage. If you want a lighter coverage, you can use a sponge, because that'll give you a really nice just kind of natural light coverage, or a stippling brush, kind of like the one that I used for my primer. That will give you a nice light coverage as well. So I'm going to whack my foundation on. Today I'm using my NARS Sheer Glow in the shade Punjab, and I'm just going to whack a bit of that on now. So I have polished the foundation all over my skin. I've avoided the under eye area because that's where we're going to be popping some concealer. And then what I always do on myself and on clients, if I want to add a little bit of extra coverage, I take it on my brush and just tap it into the skin. And I always add a little bit of extra coverage in the centre of the face and around the chin and mouth area, because that's where we tend to touch our faces quite a lot, and it's where I think everyone finds the coverage just kind of wears during the day. Let me check. Tip number 3 is about layering. So I like to use a mixture of cream products and then set them with powder products. If you layer your products a little bit more, they're going to last that little bit extra, rather than just having 1 or 2 things on the skin that are maybe going to soak into the skin or slide around a little bit. If you use a couple of different layers and really work them into the skin, that's going to help a lot. So I went through this in a little bit more depth in my last video with kind of my cream bronzers and things like that, so I'm just going to go ahead and do those bits now. Trying my best to keep this video a little bit shorter than the last one, because the last one was quite long. Oh, gotcha. Now I am... Oh my god! I didn't put any concealer on. Oh, that's okay, because I'm still on creams. Oh, I'm such an idiot. So I usually do that before my bronzer. So we can just imagine that I'm doing this before my bronzer, thanks. I knew something was wrong. Under the eyes. Chinny chin chin. Use your concealer to add coverage where you need to as well, because you don't want like a full thick layer of foundation all over your face. That's just going to be really heavy. It's going to sit on top, it's going to slide around, it's not going to work very well at all. So use your concealer to add coverage where you need to. And do your concealer straight after your foundation, really. Always go into that little inner corner there, that's going to really wake you up. I'm going to whiz off camera to do my brows, so I will be right back. Ta-da! I'm back. Ooh, I'm back, and I have eyebrows. Tip number 4, setting your face. So you do want to set your face. You kind of want to sandwich your product, so priming and setting are really important. So I would suggest getting your hands on a powder that you like, something that is really finely milled. You don't want like a chunky, chalky powder. You want something really fine that's just going to set things in place. I would also suggest using a smaller brush for setting your face. So if you use a big, like we all have those big kind of fluffy powdery brushes, and they're fine, but if you use this with your powder, you're going to swirl up a lot of product and that's going to waste a lot of your product. So if you've spent a little bit of money on your product, you don't want the product going into the air and everywhere and you're wasting it and then putting it on your face with a big fluffy brush. It's just kind of going to sit, it's going to get in your hair and your eyebrows. So I find you can just be more specific with a smaller brush and only set really where you need to set. So I would set where I pop my concealer, so under the eyes, on the nose, and I mentioned in my last video I always do a bit of extra setting on the nose because I wear glasses and that tends to kind of take off my makeup a little bit, so I always set the nose, and then anywhere you get oily or anywhere your coverage tends to wear off during the day. So I find there's no need to set the outer edges of the face because I'm going to be popping a powder bronzer there anyway, so that's going to set things. And with the smaller brush as well, we're kind of pressing it into the skin as opposed to just swirling it around on top and disrupting everything. Ta-da! Sidetracked. I need you. Now I'm just going to finish off my powders with my Glowgasm palette from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm using you. Because we've used our cream products already, like our cream bronzer, our cream blusher, etc., this is just going to add a little bit more dimension and kind of set things in place for us. And so that's why there's no need to set the outer perimeters of the face with your setting powder. Throw on a quick lip. As a final tip, I would say try and get out of bad habits, not bad habits, try and get out of habits like touching your face too much during the day and things like that, because that will make your makeup wear off faster and we all do it so much. So even just remind yourself and you'll notice you're touching your face so much during the day, so try and get out of that habit. So here we have it, a glowy, dewy base that is going to last all day. But once you kind of get into the habit of employing those little few kind of tips and tricks, it really helps and it makes a huge difference. So thank you for watching and I'll be back very soon with some more fun and hopefully my face will start working again soon. Bye! Mwah.